So you want us like, go there?
That's what I was thinking, jamming. You better be careful.
I know. and welcome to Howell First United Methodist Church. We are glad that you are with us, and for those that are worshiping with us online, we welcome you, and we hope that you are blessed by this service. Just a few quick announcements that Bayshore Kids Day Camp is scheduled for July 10th through the 13th, and there's still spots available for that, so that if you know of anyone, friends, neighbors, get them involved. Registration forms are in the office. The other is starting July 11th with our new pastor, Pastor Doug McMunn. He is going to start chapel prayers starting July 11th at 10 in the morning in the chapel. And this is open for everyone. And this is open for prayers. So we hope that you will join us. At this time, let us stand and sing our opening hymn, Jesus Shall Reign, hymn number 157. Our call to worship this morning is God has called us to this place of peace and quiet. The Lord is always with us, offering us refreshment for our souls. It is the gift of the Lord's love for us. Come and rest. At this time, please greet one another.
and I are kind of pointing at each other going, you, me, you, me, you. All right, now is the time for prayers and praises. I can say one of the praises that I'm very aware of, besides what a wonderful musical talent we have in our congregation. Well, holy smokes, there's a lot of birthdays coming up that or have been this week. Doug Page, Ellen Page, Lynn in the 8 o'clock service, Sam Jeffers, my son Andrew is today, Lynn's is today. Anybody else I'm missing? Doesn't look like it. Is there anything else that someone would like to lift up as a prayer or a praise? If not,
you can say it out loud.
If not, let's be in a spirit of prayer. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to be together today. For those that celebrated birthdays, we remember that we were born for you, amongst you and with you. We celebrate the things that happen in life, those little moments and experiences. We also need your healing power. There are prayers that are on our hearts that are unspoken. May your healing touch be with them. Let us keep this in our spirit and pray what you have taught us to pray. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Join with us in the singing of hymn number 557, Blessed Be the Tie That Binds.
Well, good morning again. So what on earth am I doing up here? So just as Scott left us with an opportunity the last 5 weeks to have other people share the message, he asked that I would do this last one and to talk a little bit about the leadership team. And I don't think I could say much about the leadership team without sharing a little bit about my story and my journey to where we're at today. So here we go. So I'm going to tell you about the places I've lived, a little about my family, some schools, places I've worked, places I've been. Music is important in my life. You'll always hear radio on in the car when I'm working. I think my wife much more appreciates that I do a lot more housework and projects when she's gone because we have totally music differences. And also my inspiration and a little bit about our leadership team. Places I've lived. When you take from where I was born to where I grew up to moving to Howell to Ann Arbor to Howell, you literally could get in a car and in 2 hours and 27 minutes you've hit every place I've ever lived in my life. Now, when you work for a global enterprise and a global company, people talk about, well, I was in New York, I was in LA, I lived in Frankfurt. Nope, I've lived within 60-some miles of where I was born, and gosh, I just love Michigan. So where am I from? Jules and Pat DeHanens, that's my parents. I consider Jules my dad, but I am a product of divorce. My mom and Jules got married when I was 6. Philip Wehrwein is my mom's first husband, my biological father. Today we know what it's called. It's PTSD. He came back from the Korean War, not the same person he left. Back then, those folks didn't have a lot of support. A lot of substance abuse. My mom just couldn't stay. But that means I had 6 grandparents. So out of my 6 grandparents, August and Clara DeHanens, they came over from east side of Flanders, Belgium. Grandma and Grandpa Wehrwein were Volga River Germans. Russell Riley is the only one born in the United States. And Amelia Smith was from Newcastle on Tyne. 5 of my 6 grandparents immigrated to the United States. This is still a destination. This is a great country. I was married here in this chapel 36 years ago, coming up in August. About right here. That's my wife Jennifer, as well as about a midway through our marriage. And then the picture on the upper right is the anniversary celebration during the first year of COVID. Jennifer went to the University of Michigan and coached volleyball there for a long time and played Eastern Michigan, Michigan State, and runs the Top Gun Volleyball Club, which provides awesome opportunities for so many women as players, as coaches, and now the coaches that are coming back who were players a generation ago. It's an awesome, awesome thing that she does. And that means we also have 2 kids, Andrew and Alex. When I'd explain to who my family is to my coworkers, they always thought I had 2 boys because we talked about sports all the time. Andrew was my cheerleading boy, and Alex was my athletic daughter. Andrew, when your kid goes to Mississippi State and he's a 14-and-a-half-hour car ride away, you think, there's no possible way my kid could move any farther away. Granted, he is now at the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia, which is a 14-and-a-half-hour plane ride straight from LA. Andrew is being, unfortunately, very successful in Australia. I think he has applied for his citizenship. He's been there for 4 years. He is doing great. And he has gotten into sailing and racing. Long-distance races now out of Sydney Harbor. Imagine Chicago to Mackinac. Alex and Jeff Victor. The picture on the left means a lot. Alex and Jeff share the anniversary with Jay and Dewey Hackman. They were married 62 years on their wedding day. That's awesome. Alex is my swimmer. She swam in college at Calvin. She met Jeff, who's a baseball player at Calvin, and they produced the grand dog and the grandson. So we got Gus, the dog, and we have Jet, the little boy. He's 2.5. I was able to be with them in Florida this past weekend, only for one day, but my gosh, what a blast that is. For those of you that do have children, I just want to say grandchildren is so much more fun. I think when you're raising kids, you're in the moment. You're in we got homework, we got lunch, we got this. When you're a grandparent, it's get on the floor, we're playing cars. I am still very much into golf and experiences, boat. I keep my boat over at Duane's house. My mother-in-law was very, very fortunate to let me do that. And I always think of the psalm, "You leadeth me to green pastures." It's those still waters where I can reconnect. I am also one of those goofy guys who absolutely loves snow in the winter. I think snow is like a white sand dune. It's just beautiful. I cannot stand rain. My playlist on Pandora, the kind of music that I like, things in green are concerts I've been to. I like the Stones and the Cure and Bruce Springsteen. Ken went to an Echo and the Bunnymen concert with me. Johnny Cash, White Stripes. But in addition to music, I like experiences. I've been to the whiteout game at Penn State. Obviously been to Michigan State and Michigan. Been to a Rose Bowl. Been to Wisconsin, Iowa. This year we'll head to Nebraska that first weekend in October. I've been to Lambeau Field and Tiger Stadium and Comerica Park. I've seen the Packers at Tennessee as well as San Francisco. Been to a World Series, the All-Star Game, NBA Finals, the first ever Nashville Predators football game, 2 U.S. Opens, the PGA Championship. In scouting, I've dog sledded across the UP. I've been to Philmont in New Mexico, kayaking in the Outer Banks around Shackleford Shoals and Yellowstone. When I participate at conferences, I put up one eye chart of slides of all the icons of the companies that I've worked for and where I've been. And last year I added to the bottom line, that third one from the right, I put the United Methodist logo onto my byline that I share with people. So this past week, over 4 days, 2 evenings, I had people come up to me during the conference to talk about the fact that I was willing to just simply share, I'm on the leadership team at my church. I'm a United Methodist. We had great conversations. And yes, the last 2 are, yes, I'm an owner of the Green Bay Packers, and I, of course, think the Rolling Stones are the coolest thing ever. I think Keith Richards is cool. That's why I have the hoopy earring. Oh, that's cool. Yes. So how did I get here? When I got my first management job at the University of Michigan, my sister-in-law bequeathed me a book, God's Little Devotional Book for Leaders. It is amazing the number of times I go back to this book just for one little tad of inspiration. And it's simple stuff. I admit, my message here is a little fortune cookie-ish. But it's things like, indecision is often worse than the wrong action. And then it says in James 1:8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And then it'll have a story that relates to that. My message today is a little bit like that. It's a couple of one-liners and a couple of things that resonate for me. Do not remember the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me, for you, Lord, are good. And trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lead not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Lean not on to your own understanding. I'm here because I have my own understanding. But I want to know your understanding. I want to know more. I want to know how Shayla feels about it, and Jane feels about it, and Jim feels about it. I want my pastor to inspire me on the message. Is he reading the words the same as I? Am I interpreting them correct? Or maybe Sue has a great story that goes along with the message as well. I need you to help me understand and be a better Christian. That's why I'm here in the present. But then how did I get here? I think it was 10 years ago the building committee started to renovate parts of our building. What's the good plan? I served on that, and while doing that, Gloria Shadaker asked, hey, how about being a layperson for the 9 o'clock service? Just be the eyes and ears, tell us what's going on, help our minister out. Well, okay. During George's goodbye, when we're in the cars in the parking lot driving by, and he's introducing people and, thank you, have a great life in retirement. He said, Jeff, as we move into this single board, I really hope you would consider serving. And then about a month later, Rick Staley had the same conversation. Jeff, I really hope that you would serve on this board. I think we need people like you. So you're aware that we went through the VCI, the Vital Church Initiative. We came up with a new mission, vision, values. We moved into a simplified, accountable structure for our church. But you never lose focus on the mission of the church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. And even in our icon, our tagline, a caring community growing in faith, hope, and love. But one of the ones that I really want to focus on is from our leadership team guiding principles. If you want to be on the leadership team, one of the things that you would adhere to is our dream is to become a church that is growing spiritually and numerically, that unapologetically offers Jesus' love and grace to the lost, hurting, and oppressed, that actively engages our surrounding community in order to bring the unchurched into a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that nurtures and cares for the souls who are part of our worshiping community. The accountable leadership structure that we have, I realize it's a little bit of an eye chart of an org chart, but it really is. It's Christ. It's our church charge, our conference. And then it is the 9 people on the leadership board serving with Doug, officially Saturday. And then the pastor, as that goes into our teams and committees that we have. I should say teams, trying to strike the word committee out, except for nominations. Nominations are still important and still occur, as is our building team and our marketing team. But they're not committees that are just bogged down. So one of the reasons that I bring up all of my experiences is I'm one person of 10 on that leadership team. Beth Kuhn, who's on the leadership team, brings all of her musical talent, her equestrianism, what is that what we call the horses stuff? She brings skills that I don't have. Debbie Mitchell, who serves at the 8 o'clock service, has her own unique talents and experiences in life that have come to us. Linda Barish brings to us things that happened as she grew up in North Carolina. Pete Johnson, whose family is here, multi-generational in our congregation. Jim Rutherford, who clearly has different experiences than I do. I never served. Jim did. I'm so thankful for it. But he brings a unique perspective. Dennis Ferguson, who has access somehow to every musical instrument known to mankind. But it's his passion. He's sharing all of his technology experience with us. Or Norm Pratt with an IT background and a finance team background, what he brings to it. And Rusty Hudson, who comes from a family that has been steeped in the United Methodist Church and the Wesleyan Covenant throughout. We're all different. And I imagine if you gave people, I want you to give me 10 slides or 8 slides about your life, they would fill them up. And they look so different than my experiences. But together, we do have one passion. We're all in this for Christ. We're all in this to bring others to Christ. And I'm really fired up for Doug McMunn. When Doug and Mary Ann come, I'm not trying to say that they're just like the saviors, but they'll bring a different perspective than we've had in a while. George had the way that he communicated with us, and that resonated with folks. And Scott had his message and how it resonated with us. I really appreciate. I had the opportunity to be in our golf league, sub for Doug's partner. I'm telling you what, when you sit in a golf cart with somebody for 2.5 hours, you learn a lot about a guy. Especially when the ball goes that way, or that way, or that way. But he didn't get a birdie. He was good. So how did I get here? I think of in 2020, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. 2020, can you think of some adversity? How about 2021? And 22? And 23? In 1963, there was adversity. There's always going to be adversity. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. I think one of the things that has been a challenge for the leadership team has been a little bit of that adversity. The leading without a goal is leading blindly. Jesus tells of the parable, can the blind lead the blind? Will they not both fall into a pit? Leadership team needed to go to a retreat, set aside some time, and meet and develop goals. Who's doing what, by when, measurable, accountable goals. We scheduled our first retreat. Somebody got COVID. We scheduled our second retreat. 2 more people got COVID. We scheduled our third retreat this past fall. Somebody got COVID. Finally, in January, February, we were able to meet and come up with a set of successes. What are we good at? What do we need to work on? What do we do well? What could we do better? And I think you'll see those things roll out in the coming months. I think Doug McMunn and Mary Ann McMunn are the right people for us. I remember talking about, with Luann, our district superintendent, what are you looking for in a pastor? And almost everyone, self-included, oh, I hope we get somebody young, not ready for retirement. And then I thought, you know what? I don't hope for that. I pray for the right minister for us. I don't care how old, young, different they are. I hope that we get the right leader for our congregation who can help us stick to the values that we've set up and started upon. So my last slide of how did I get here, I could practically cry, not as much as I did for Jay and Duane's picture and my daughter, who share the same wedding anniversary. I am so fired up for what is about to happen for us and for the community of Howell and here in Michigan. I think our preschool is about to take off. It's about to go boom. Our scout troop is going to double. The Catholic Church no longer wants Boy Scouts to be a part of them. And we've said, come on over. So Troop 365 from St. Joseph's Church is joining Troop 364 because they're welcome. You can just literally walk out of here, look across the parking lot, look at that garden. Opportunities for people who don't have gardens to participate. Opportunities for us to give back to our community where you see things are growing and producing fruit, producing vegetable. We've got beautiful, wonderful buildings and have an opportunity to share those with more and more folks. I think of the substance abuse groups that meet here nearly daily. 60 years ago, my dad didn't have those same opportunities. But we here in our congregation are sharing. We're making it open. And I'm very excited for the voice of a new shepherd. We are the flock. We are the sheep. And next week, we've got a new voice. Now, I know many of you are Michigan State fans, but you do have to give a little bit of credence to Bo Schembechler's line. It's right at the tunnel as they come out. Those who stay will be champions. I also think of, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. I'm happy to stay the course. I'm happy to where we're going as our congregation as we start taking off. I know that us being an inviting and welcoming and open congregation creates more opportunities for us, the church, the unchurched, to seek disciples for Jesus Christ. I hope you're as excited as I am, because I'm telling you, this is going to get good. Thanks. If our ushers would come forward with our offering and tithes, I would be appreciative. Lord, may these gifts and talents and offerings that we have brought to you be used to your goodness. Amen. Our closing hymn is Forward Through the Ages, number 555. Jim, you want to join me?
Sure. I will join you.
Folks, thanks for being here today. I very much appreciate it, as does Jim. I appreciate him being here as the host. I hope that the Balloon Fest today is like a metaphor as we're starting to take off from here. We have an awesome God, and I hope that you have some inspiration to share it with others. I hope to see you back here next week as we welcome Doug and Mary Ann McMunn into our congregation. Go now in peace. Thanks be to God.
Amen.